Irrigation system or sprinkler system for a lawn, residential lawn, some commercial applications. Question: when installing a sprinkler system, we have a valve, which this would be a valve. The valve has a solenoid. This would be the solenoid. Generally speaking, it has two wires coming off, one for the hot, one for the common wire. And then on one side it has an arrow, so the water direction needs to the valve needs to be installed according to the direction of the water flow. Otherwise, you will stymie the water flow. So water flow say hypothetically comes here, exits here. Okay, we have say if we have a two-zone system, average sprinkler system that, in my opinion, for residential may be between 4 and 8 zones, somewhere in there. But let's just for just for a hypothetical, let's just say we had two zones. So if we had two zones, we would have two of these. Okay, so now the topic here is a master valve. What is a master valve, and what is a master valve used for, and how do we connect a master valve? So if we had a master valve, hypothetically, we could say we have two of these for each zone, and then we have another one that would go onto the pipe. Say the PVC pipe would protrude out here, and let's say on this side we came off of the double check valve, or the backflow preventer, or whatever cutoff, and say we're sitting about a foot here. What the master valve would do, I'm thinking, and the HVAC gurus can elaborate if just shed some light on it. But basically, when the system is off, the valves are off, and the water stops on this side, does not go to this side until the solenoid's open. However, if one has a master valve, then but still on a normal system, there would still be water pressurized in the main. So you would have in the main all the way until you got here. But if you had a master valve, this would stop the water from flowing until it got to 1, 2, or 3. So, or say for instance, in the case we're doing, the hypothetical, say a two-zone system, the water would stop here, say a foot in front of the system. It would be like a cutoff. So there would be no water in the main, or very little water in the main to add pressure. So if you got a leak in the main, it wouldn't just sit there and be billowing up water and losing X amount of gallons per minute, one after another. Okay, now if we go to the box, we can see this particular box here has a terminal. Trying to find it here, and it's like okay, right here we have a terminal called P. This may stand for pump. So this, you could either wire the pump in, which may be a valve like this. I'm not certain, the HVAC gurus. Or you can wire the master valve into the pump. Now, here's where I'm a little hazy at, and the HVAC experts can elaborate. Say, and then we have zone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we would have a common. The common would be hooked up, and then we would have the P hooked up for the master valve. So, question, does the master valve take precedence over 1, 2, 3 over the zones? So does it, because actually the water has to fill in the main. So I'm wondering if the box is pre-programmed so that the P comes on first. Now, if you don't have a P, you can forget it, and then zone 1 would come on, in our case zone 2, but in this one we have X amount of zones wired up, 5 zones wired up. But say if we only had 2, one would come on, 2 would come on. But if we had a master valve, it would be connected to the P here, and when it would be connected to the P, I'm wondering if P comes on and takes precedence over 1, 2, 3, 4, how many zones you've got. If any HVAC guys can add that to the comments, that would be wonderful. But notwithstanding, this is where you would wire the master valve up, the P, and obviously it would have the common because you would have two wires here, 1, 2. So this would, then when the water comes here, the water would stop so that there's not water pressurized in the main. So if you end up having a leak in the main, now normally on the installs that I've done, normally I have not put a master valve in, but I'm wondering, sometimes you decide to do something, you think it's a good idea, it turns into a bad idea. Sometimes you do something and you think it's a bad idea and it turns into a good idea. Sometimes knowledge evolves over time and knowledge is built upon knowledge. So, but say if you had a master valve, if you had a 2-zone system, you would need 3 of these, 2 for the zone, 1 for the master valve, and the master valve would be connected to the P and the common. And I'm thinking, and then I'm thinking this would come on. I'm wondering if the box is pre-programmed so the P takes precedence over 1, 2, or however many zones you've got. So this is a master valve for a lawn sprinkler system, for an irrigation system for a yard. Thank you.